right, that's kind of a cool warm up, huh? That one basically is kind of a E minor jam. Actually, it's a pretty simple power chord change. It's like E to C to A to B. Pretty typical in a lot of background jams for heavy metal tracks. That one actually has a lot of fun going. You can really do a lot of things with that one. Actually, you can play that in many keys. Obviously, you can play them in all 12 keys, right? But that's just the basic idea of kind of getting going. We're gonna kind of shift up just a little bit here. I'm gonna kind of slow down just a little bit. Actually going to take a little bit of chance to reintroduce myself. I had my mic off right when I started. I want to welcome everybody to Jam Shred Dojo with Master Lee. I am Christopher Lee Weiss, a.k.a. Master Lee, and I really want to thank everybody for coming out and checking out Junkie Bass. I'm really glad to be part of the team here and help you guys enjoy listening to music and help you shred. So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, really just kind of jamming on the next track. We'll just kind of take a listen to this one. This one's a little different, kind of a little more of a laid-back track, kind of a nice kind of break the palette up between all the metal tracks. After a while, they all kind of sound similar, just like any music does if you listen to the same chord changes over and over again. But let's take a listen to this one. Let's do a little jamming on this one. getting ahead of myself there. That's a really nice one. I really like jamming over B minor. B minor and E minor are actually very similar. In fact, it's kind of a nice way to practice guitar, right? To practice jamming over stuff. Just to give a little overview of what I'm doing here, I'm actually improvising over all of these particular tracks. Basically, just making this up as I go. It's a lot of fun. It's a different. Obviously, you can write songs and and like record the songs and then practice them and play them exactly the way they're supposed to go. And there's a lot of fun to doing that too, actually writing complete songs. But in this particular case, that's not necessarily the most creative thing to do. A lot of musicians will tell you that, when you get on stage and you play over the same songs over and over and over again, you really start to just dislike them. I remember reading basically an article on Guns N' Roses and Slash. They had played the Appetite for Destruction album for I think a year and a half before they even got signed. And then they had to re-record the album, and then they had to go on tour and then play that album over and over again. And so by the time we get to see them and we want to hear our favorite songs, if you're a Guns N' Roses fan, you want to hear Sweet Child of Mine, or you want to hear Paradise City or Welcome to the Jungle, they are pretty much sick of playing those songs by the time they come out. Now again, the crowd being excited and having a lot of great fun at the actual show, it makes it all worth it. I've played a lot of the same songs over and over again. But here, I get the luxury of kind of just making things up as I go. And again, obviously there's some dangers to that. Sometimes it doesn't go well at all. Sometimes you come up with stuff that you never would have come up with just by trying to write it. In fact, one more quick little story, then we'll get back to the jamming. I read, was kind of the anniversary of Joe Satriani's Surfing with the Alien, and Steve Vai kind of mentioned to him, I think it was Ice 9, I think was the tune. But he said he really liked, when Steve Vai was talking about the album to Joe, he told Joe he liked the whole album, but then he said, man, that solo on Ice 9, that solo seemed worked out. Basically meaning that Joe had worked the solo out and played it over and over again. And professional musicians can pick up on that, but you know what? Regular people can pick up on it too, because after you play something that's the same over and over and over again, sometimes you start to lose the passion and the energy from that particular piece. So it's actually just a lot of fun just to kind of make something up, So with that being said, let's listen to our next jam. that's really kind of a more of a Van Halen style kind of jam, really got a lot of those different sounds that you can kind of get from the E minor, a lot of that has to do with kind of like the chord that we put in the background. All of the different things that I'm playing, I'm kind of playing a solo over a lead. I'm playing a solo over a background, which what we would call the lead, and really I'm trying to match what I'm playing to the chords, knowing the key that I'm in, and just trying to play, those particular notes at the right time. Think about it something simply here before we get going again. You can actually have a lot of fun, if I can get my pedal to work here, you can actually have a lot of fun even without the background. For example, if I play, just use like some 3 chords from like, we use like E major, it's like play E major. We'll play like B add 9, A add 9 to E. And really all I'm going to do is kind of play the notes in those chords. So I can kind of do this on my own. I can go like... Pretty simple idea. Kind of the same concept, which I'll do something later, kind of based off of those particular ideas, or maybe even something simpler, like just a simple little A7 or A minor 7 to D7, something that sounds like this. And just kind of highlighting the notes. You can even hear those chords like when I just play the notes from the chords. Like if I go. Kind of using C and A, which are kind of like, some of the notes in that A minor 7, especially that C, kind of gives it that minor sound. And then on the D7, kind of using the D and F sharp, which again, kind of thinking about the same concept. I'm really just trying to play just the notes that are in those chords and have some rhythmic changes and have some fun kind of doing that. There's so many different things that you can do when you solo, but really what I'm going to try to do is just kind of, see where it takes me as I go. Let's try another one. I love that jam. Nice, cool minor blues, you know. Just it's actually a pretty easy thing to jam over, and the chord change kind of sets the resolve up too. Sometimes metal chord changes don't resolve as well, so you got to kind of force the resolve a little bit. Um, and just talking a little bit about the resolve, you know, that just kind of makes the sound like where it ends. You know, when I'm playing in like a major scale, and you kind of listen to that, you can kind of hear the resolve. Case in point, if I just play like this particular scale, your brain kind of wants to hear, makes it sound finished. Same over a chord, you know, when you're soloing over a chord, you kind of want to make sure that that same thing kind of has that resolve sound. But it's a lot of fun just to try and see if you can't push the resolve somewhere else. The next track I'm gonna kind of play over kind of has that just a little bit on there. You know, I'm gonna kind of play a little more of a different resolve note than what the chords go, but definitely gives us kind of a different vibe. So let's take a listen to it and just kind of do that. allows you to kind of play a lot of stuff over it. You know, when you play something slow and kind of really kind of a mellow kind of jam, you can kind of shred over it like crazy. And you can kind of play laid back. You can do that with a lot of heavy stuff too. Sometimes, you know, it's a little difficult because of the drums. You know, the drums that you actually put in the background of your jams kind of push the rhythm just a little bit. But that's cool. It gives you kind of a really nice sound. It kind of gives you something to kind of listen to. Where do you actually match your rhythm patterns to? You know, obviously there's a lot of elements going on in what I'm playing. And it's a lot of collection of stuff that I've learned from other guitar players, other solos, stuff that I've messed around with myself, just trying to get the sound good. Plus my understanding of music theory, and then, you know, understanding, you know, physically being able to play the instrument. So this is not easy to do all the time, but you can actually get a lot of cool, really good music out just being able to play just a little bit and playing the right notes, you know. Next jam we're going to kind of do is kind of a fun little jam. I wrote this one a long time ago, probably like, man, I don't know, like 30 years ago. And I've still been jamming over this particular change. This change is just actually quite a lot of fun to play over. This is kind of that add 9 thing too. You know, when you think about the chord change, let me just kind of jam it here real fast. When you think about the actual change, the actual chord change we're going to be jamming over is this. It's going to go. And really, it's like kind of an E power chord with an A in the bass. Kind of, you know, you stack those to kind of get an A minor add 9 feel to it, or actually just an A sus, you know, feel to it. And then adding in the C, changing the bass to the C, kind of gives it a C major 7. So really simple change, just 3 notes here, and then 1 change note on the top. Gives it enough change and movement to kind of sound like there's something cool going there. Then it kind of gives me some different note choices to kind of play around with at the beginning. But let's take a listen to it, and let's do a little bit of jamming over that one. that one's pretty cool. That one's got a lot of you know, kind of odd changes, and it actually kind of goes from major to minor on that one. Kind of a fun, kind of a surprise too when you're listening to it. There's so many different, I guess, ideas that you can kind of stretch into these particular things. A lot of the things, if you watch me long enough, even within this one stream, you could pick up on a lot of the little patterns I get. In fact, we'll go through later on like a lot of the little things that I do and kind of where I get them from, because that's kind of the key to whenever you're learning music, is to kind of steal like a really cool little bit from something. Case in point, like if we're gonna do like one of the licks from like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, right? There's kind of a classic lick right at the beginning of that solo. Make it kind of a clean channel on there. It goes like this. One more time. But we could take that and actually kind of steal that and put it over all kinds of stuff, right? We can actually take the lick from Layla and kind of combine those two right in the same area, right? So I can go... As soon as I add those two things together, man, it starts... I mean, obviously, it kind of sounds like those particular licks, and so you can't just play them verbatim. But again, a lot of the ideas that I'm going to play and a lot of the things that I'm going to do, just come from learning those little bits. That's one of the things that a lot of players, as they learn, obviously we love to play other people's music because it's exciting. We love playing music, and it's just really fun to listen to ourselves being able to play something that we admire. But there's another level, basically, after we get to that point of being able to take what we've just listened to and kind of turn it into our own thing. Over the next jam, I'm going to kind of do that same thing. See if you can't listen for those kind of licks. I'll purposely kind of throw them in there. Just so you can kind of hear that I'm actually still doing this live. And it's completely not pre-rehearsed. Obviously, you can tell from some of the mistakes I've made. But that's kind of the fun part, right? It's, music isn't supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be emotional, and it's supposed to be making a connection. Obviously, sometimes the wrong notes actually... New music doesn't occur without the wrong notes. When you practice always being perfect and never allowing yourself to make mistakes, you're never going to kind of stumble across a new grouping of notes that even though you didn't intend to play it, it sounds awesome when you do that. So just a whole lot of fun here. Let me cue up another track here and we'll see if we can't get some of those ideas in there. definitely kind of a cool jam on that one. Definitely enjoyed playing over that one. Didn't enjoy, I didn't like the distorted sound as much over that one. A little too strong for that one. My pedal, I probably need to set my pedal up a little differently on that particular one to try to give me a little bit more of a kind of an in-between sound, not something that's not so aggressive, but something that's not so clean. But that clean sound really does have kind of a nice jam over that. Really gives it kind of a nice, laid back feeling. I really like that laid back jam, where you can kind of like let the notes kind of breathe and just kind of have that, just a really cool sound to it. Let's change things up just a little bit here and kind of get back to playing something a little more heavy. Not that heavy's better, but it kind of is a lot more. I can kind of shred over it, kind of let loose and kind of play everything that I want to. But let's do a little heavy one. Yeah, that one's actually a whole lot of fun. That one's got kind of a different rhythm and a cool groove to it, you know. Uh, Rhythm's a big thing, you know, obviously. There's only 12 notes. So, you know, think about like taking 12 crayons and trying to come up with all the different combinations you can. As far as like, you know, mixing the colors, you can probably come up with lots and lots of different colors. But if you actually can only use those 12 and you can't mix them together, you only have 12 colors. So the backgrounds, the rhythms in the background really go a long way in making some of the same chord changes sound different just because rhythmically they're different. They get kind of like a different groove to it, you know. That one definitely kind of a blues scale. A whole lot of what we do, you know, from a rock standpoint is usually the blues scale. That particular riff. That definitely has that kind of blues scale jam to it here. Let me get kind of a little bit more of a less reverbed kind of a thing there, as that would go. And so, you know, that idea of playing just that blues scale, again, blues scale, what's that blues scale, right? It's really just the minor pentatonic scale. In the case of E, that would be E, G, A, B, and D. And I'm going to add in that B flat, right? That B flat, which we call the blue note or a flat 5. It's got that kind of like passing tone sound to it. Really cool, really whole lot of fun to kind of use that note. That's like the Metallica note, right? Everything that you can play, like everything is Smoke on the Water. But if you hang on that particular thing, you know, if you really think about like all the jams you listen to, like Smoke on the Water, right? You know, typical, and I'm just gonna play it in E, not in the original key, so I can kind of show you the other jams. But so it'd be like. See right there, that note right there, that B flat, right? Well, that's kind of like all the stuff, right? Like, you know, like all the Metallica stuff, you know. Or even like, you know, like Cowboys from Hell from Pantera, same scale. That's, you know, the blues scale, really effective in trying to actually be able to play all of those particular things. They give it the kind of that edge, but kind of gives it kind of that cool quality as well. That's kind of the difference between when you start going from like normal heavy metal, and you get kind of into like maybe some more speedy metal or like maybe even death metal. You know, that kind of is a little more chromatic. Or even stuff like Cannibal Corpse is gonna be like. But again, you know, all of these things all take place and they all play with the same 12 notes that we have on this guitar. Or actually 12 notes you have on any musical instrument, at least Western musical instruments. You know, like Eastern instruments can actually play notes in between ours, which is really cool. Definitely jealous of those guys because they get more notes than we do. But I'm really happy with this system. There's a lot of fun to actually kind of do with this system. Let's do another jam. You know, let's take a listen to a kind of more of a different kind of a darker one here. Kind of more of a little bit of a string idea, but still fun to play over. So let's take a listen to this one. definitely. Yeah, I do play guitar for a job, and thank you. Appreciate that. I actually do. I've been teaching for many, many years. I've been in many, many bands. Obviously, with the world situation right now, there's no gigs. There's nowhere to play. At least not just yet, anyway. So coming at you from Junkie Bass here, I want to again thank them for the opportunity for me to be part of the team and just being able to jam here and talk a little bit about music and things that we're going to do. I'm having some technical difficulties with my pedal down here on the floor. I've been trying to get it to change patches for me, and I think I've stomped on it so much over the years it's about stomped out. But I can get it to work. I just got to get it up to the particular sets that I need it for. So it works. You know, a lot of the things that I actually do, you know, the way the guitar is kind of mapped out, it's actually some pretty easy ideas to play, like taking something that's in an octave. You'll hear me play this lick actually quite a bit. And what I'm actually doing is I'm actually playing the same notes over and over again. So I'm actually going, and then I'm repeating that same idea. And then I'm going to do it the same thing again. And even after that, I'll actually start just skipping notes that are in there, just to kind of break up the sound. Just kind of giving it that same kind of feel and jam, you know. So the idea of being able to play all of these particular licks and patterns, I'm playing them actually off of individual scales. In this case, most of the stuff I'm doing tonight is in kind of 2 or 3 keys. And the keys are real close to each other too. Kind of using the circle of fifths. For example, I'm using basically, although all the stuff is in the key of G major, I'm using the different modes. But so G major is all natural notes except for F sharp, which is F sharp. And then a lot of times the stuff I'll do from G, I'll do the circle of fifths up from that, which would be the key of D, which is actually the same set of notes except C gets turned into C sharp. So yeah, when I'm actually playing, I actually am aware of where all the notes here that I'm actually playing, so that I actually can pick those particular notes. That's one of the harder things to learn on the guitar. Not that anything is impossible. It's just that, you know, like when you play the piano is so nice because it's laid out and it gives you the keys, right? You look at the keys on the piano and you have the white keys, which are all like the regular notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it kind of starts on C. And then all of those smaller black keys, which are kind of, they're smaller keys and they're kind of up out of the way. Those particular ones are all the sharps and flats. So you can kind of see them. You can say, okay, well, if I stay, like we do something in A minor, which has no sharps or flats, that means we can play completely on the white keys. And so when you're playing on a keyboard, that kind of makes that a little easier to see. Now, I'm not saying playing keyboards is any easier than playing the guitar. I'm not saying that. In fact, in many ways, it's difficult. It's more difficult. But each instrument has its own difficulties, That's what makes each musician in the band so special. They know how to play their particular instrument in a particular way. I'll tell you, I can play the guitar really, really well. But I've always been amazed at somebody that can, I'm really used to playing the guitar and being able to kind of affect the notes, right? So like if I play something like this, I'm used to being able to shake that, with my hands and physically kind of get the sound to kind of wave and kind of get like a sing-songy sound to it. Whereas, when you're playing like a keyboard or piano, a lot of times you got to use the pedals on the floor. I guess you could use the pitch wheel too, but obviously people that play the piano, just straight up regular piano, they don't have a pitch wheel. And I'm always amazed when they play the piano to hear the emotion and the feeling come out of that, because I'm like, man, how do they do that so well without being able to actually affect the strings? It's one of the great things about being able to play a musical instrument well, So let's go ahead and listen to another jam here. Let me see what else we haven't actually played yet here today. I've actually kind of done a whole lot of these particular jams. May repeat maybe some of the ones I did at the front, just to kind of get a little bit more of a heavy jam. Oh, here's a new one that we haven't done yet. Let me make sure I got my lead dialed in, and away we go. of fun to jam over that one. I love jamming over that one because I can play really fast. I like playing really fast, obviously musical situations kind of dictate whether you're going to play fast or slow. The guitar for me is I know it's a musical instrument, but it's kind of like driving a sports car, It's like you got electric guitar. It's like driving that sports car out on a highway. Nobody buys a sports car to take it on the highway and drive like 10 miles an hour. Man, you want to floor that baby. You want to speed down the highway and go as fast as you can on that thing. Yeah, I do understand sometimes it gets kind of crazy, but it's kind of sometimes the feeling of the speed, right? It's kind of when I play really, really fast, it's that feeling of just that kind of craziness, it kind of gives you that feeling of the train kind of almost coming off the track, musically, obviously you don't want to listen to somebody do that like constantly all of the time because that does kind of get old. But just like anything, you listen to anything too long, it kind of gets different. You just kind of shift it up just a little bit. Try to play some different things as you go. One of the things that, let's see what kind of jams I actually have left here. I think I've played most of the jams that I actually had picked out to play today. Let me check here. I think I might have one more kind of a blues or kind of a funky one, kind of a rock funk one, real pentatonic idea here. Again, blues scale pentatonic, same idea that we kind of talked about earlier when we were talking about the Pantera. There are so many ideas with that blues scale. Just from the ideas that I played earlier, the Metallica ideas, one of my favorite blues scale jams is a Megadeth tune called Tornado of Souls. It's got this intro riff that goes. Let me turn the distortion off there, Let me turn all the noise off that. That's got that bluesy. That's a really cool, like kind of blues jam kind of feel to it. And if I can get my pedal to work there. All right, cool. Just to kind of get back to that kind of jam. But let's take a listen to this one, kind of a minor funk jam. Really cool one. And we'll finish it off with that one today. Yeah, that's a whole lot of fun, man. I really enjoy playing that one. There's definitely kind of a funky element to that one. Definitely a little bit of a different kind of vibe, you know. There's so much you can actually play over, pentatonic stuff in general. I add a lot of stuff into it. You know, you can add a lot of chromatics. You can add a lot of be able to play so many different patterns and so many different ideas that you can, kind of do over those particular things. I'm going to go ahead and take one more. We're gonna do. I'm kind of go back through. I've kind of gone through a lot of my jams, but I'm gonna go through maybe one of the ones I did at the beginning, just to kind of. I'm kind of warmed up now, kind of feeling it. Finally got my pedal to kind of working into. Nothing like jamming and stomping on your pedal and not seeing the lights change at all. It's an old pedal, and I definitely think I've stomped on it too much. So that one may be biting the dust, but that's okay. The idea of being able to, go back and do it again is kind of the fun of being able to jam it. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that. One of my, the very first one that I did today one more time, and then we'll go from there. lot of fun. Really enjoy that particular shred and that particular jam. That's definitely one of my all-time favorite ones. That's definitely something. That one probably I'm most comfortable playing over because I've been playing over that particular chord change for like 30 years. And again, I know some of the stuff I do is insanely fast, but again, sports car analogy, kind of get it on the highway. Really want to punch it and be able to do that. Hey, man, I really appreciate everybody coming and spending some time with me. I'm really looking forward to spending more time with you guys, coming up with lots more jams, lots more information. Grab your guitars the next time you're listening. We'll get some ideas, play along if you can. The idea is, I know sometimes it's nuts when I'm playing, but a lot of the jam tracks and a lot of things that here are really basic kind of things. In fact, I will spend some time on later later streams talking about kind of minimalist playing and try to play something as least as possible, but those are just kind of the things that we want to be able to do and be able to play. I really want to thank everybody. I want to thank Twitch. I want to thank Junkie Bass. I want to thank, just everybody involved here. I want to specifically Nick Britt. Man, I love you, brother. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Once again, this has been the Jam Shred Dojo with Master Lee. I am Christopher Lee Weiss, a.k.a. Master Lee, and I really look forward to having everybody back here and just kind of creating a cool community of just guys and gals that like to jam and shred. And just play all the particular things that we can play and improvise. Improvise is such an important part of music, is kind of making it up as we go. Yeah, it gets messed up sometimes, but you know what? That's okay. Being human is messy. There's not a problem with that. It's just a good thing to do, to improvise and be human, right? All right, peace, everybody. Have a good one. Everybody stay safe out there, and I will see you again next time. Thanks, everyone.